Buddy, you are just in time for What's Hot. This is where we talk about the stories that have everybody talking.
And today we are joined by Barb Bartlein from the People Pro, plus Jeff Wagner is back with us. Well, the Mequon Thanesville School District wants to cut money from special education. The district needs to cut $1.7 million in all. Right now, the superintendent wants to take $500,000 from special education. It's a move that has a lot of parents upset. The school district slashed money for special education. Is this something that they should do?
Well, one of the things I saw in the article was they're projecting that there will be fewer special needs students. Yet I didn't see any detail on that. How do they know that? Do they have some kind of spreadsheet that shows that? In fact, the superintendent then says there will be a more extensive ratio, in other words, more pupils per teacher in high school with these cuts. That doesn't sound like fewer students to me.
Yeah, I guess, see, that's the number. I mean, the school district has to cut $1.7 million, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to base it on what the needs are. And again, I think you raise an interesting point, Barb. I mean, what exactly are the numbers? They say that there's going to be fewer special education students moving forward, and they're going to be able to cut teachers and still maintain the same student ratio. If that's true, if it's true, it seems to me it makes sense. The question is it true? Where do they come up with those numbers? And then where do you go from there?
And it looks like the district is not just cutting special education services to save money. They've got a $1.7 million hole they have to fill, and this is one of the many areas they're going to take from.
No, but I understand why the special needs kids' parents are upset about that, and I understand why it's an issue, because they're saying, hey, this is disproportionate. You know, you got to cut 1.7 million, but you're taking 500,000 of that, almost a third, is coming out of the special needs budget. How does that make sense? And I think that's one where they have every right to make them, show them the numbers that justify those cuts.
Even though only 17% of the students are special needs, they're expected to give up a third of their funding. Yeah, I think that's what it really has got the parents riled.
Right.
All right. We'll move on to topic number 2 after a break. Coming up next, the viewer's choice topic of the day will tell you what you picked.
And Brian Goddard is back with, well, now for more of What's Hot, our viewer's choice topic of the day.
Again, we are joined by the People Pro herself, Barb Bartlein, and Jeff Wagner from 620 WTMJ. The viewers chose this. The U.S. Supreme Court reopened a debate over executing mentally disabled people. A ruling from 2002 exempts the mentally disabled from the death penalty. From 1984 up to 2001, more than 40 people with mental retardation were executed. Should the mentally disabled be exempt from the death penalty?
Well, I kind of have a strong opinion on this because personally I'd like to see everybody exempted from the death penalty. I think the death penalty is barbaric, and I think it affects the perception of the world when they look at the U.S. I don't see any advantage in it. Certainly, executing mentally ill people really makes other countries look at us and question our stance on human rights and all those issues that we talk about throughout the world.
Well, first of all, I have no concern at all if Russia wants to try to lecture us on human rights. I have no problem with the death penalty at all as a general rule. I believe it is appropriate punishment for people who commit the worst type of crimes. That being said, I mean, I think you do have some limitations. We do not allow juveniles to be executed, for example, because we take the position that they haven't obtained the level of maturity to deserve that. I also have issues with it applying it not to the mentally ill. We don't execute the mentally ill, but whether you can apply it to people with low IQs who might not comprehend it. I think it's fair to take another look at this. But, you know, give me a 35-year-old serial killer and ask me if I'm going to lose any sleep if he gets the death penalty. Absolutely not.
Well, I don't know, Jeff. It costs more to pursue the death penalty, and I personally think it's more of a punishment for people to spend their entire lifetime in jail or in prison. I think it makes us look barbaric. I don't think it does anything for improving our culture, improving society. I totally disagree on this.
The truth is, see, some people don't mind being in jail. And I know that that sounds foreign and alien to a lot of people, but there are a certain segment of society that jail is just fine. 3 square meals a day, exercise, TV, it is not a punishment. And again, I'm just talking about the death penalty for those people who commit the most serious capital crimes.
Okay, out of time. Topic 2, lightning round now.
All right, a New Jersey teen is suing her parents to pay for her college tuition. Now, she claims they're throwing her out of the home. The teen says her parents would cut her off both financially and emotionally on her 18th birthday. What are your thoughts on this?
A lot of parents have probably thought about this at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but
they didn't toss her
18,
out.
you're out of here.
Yeah, they didn't toss her out when she was 16. I mean, apparently, the parents' story is that she was misbehaving, she was disobedient, she wouldn't obey and listen to their rules, and so, you know, they said, fine, okay, there's the door, you're 18, go ahead. She's going to sue them to make them pay for college? I think not.
Where's she going to college?
She applied to Cornell, she says.
Well, wait a second now, Jeff. You've got somebody that's 17, 18 years old and is arguing with parents. See, I would call that normal. I think that's, you know, look at this kid. She's a cheerleader. She plays sports. She's an honor student. She's already been accepted to college. What they really seemed to have butted heads over were her boyfriend. And the parents said, you either get rid of the boyfriend or you get out. Now, as a parent, I know there's no sure way to bring a teenager closer to a boyfriend you don't want than to forbid it.
Okay, well, so they might be lousy parents, for the sake of argument, but does that mean that they should be obligated legally to provide stuff to provide for her college education beyond the time she's 18? Should every parent have to do that?
I hope not, because my kids might be watching this segment.
There you go. There you go.
I think what this family should have done is invested the money they've paid to lawyers on some good family counseling.
I agree with you on that one, Barb. Well, that does it for our hot topics. You can continue the discussion online. You can find that on tmj4.com/hot.
Coming up, Storm Team forecaster Brian Goddard